This September 8th meeting of the City Council of Monessen to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Thomas.
Here.
Councilman Orchakowski. Here. Councilman Nestor.
Present.
Councilman Gregor.
Here.
Mayor Mosher.
Present. At this time, Pastor Holmes is unable to attend. I'd like to indulge our resident.
You can indulge me again?
Would you please lead us in prayer for us?
Sure. Please bow our heads just for a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we just once again just want to thank you for this day that you have made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you for the opportunity to just come before your people, Lord, to do the work of the city. We pray for your guidance and direction, discernment to know what is thy good and acceptable, perfect will. We pray that you help us to continue moving the city forward, that you bless us in every aspect of this city, that we be blessed financially, economically, as a city as a whole, that the people may grow closer together. Our desire, Lord, is that your will be done, because we know as long as you're in the midst, that all will turn out well for the city. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask council to review the minutes from the August 25th meeting, and somebody make a motion to accept them.
Mayor, motion to accept council meetings of August 25th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Gregor.
Aye.
Councilman Nestor.
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to public comments on agenda items only. I'd like to stress that I've really worked very hard to run a very orderly and proper council. There will be no profanity allowed, but other than that, you're free to talk about agenda items.
Ernie Telegraph at 29 Rex Boulevard. I got a bunch of questions regarding these invoices. Like, the last time we were told there was $116,000 for 8th Street. Is that different than what we got here? The sewer system collapsed, and you said it was going to be like $118, $119, $1,000 to fix the sewers of 8th Street.
Right, it's actually more than that. It turns out that we authorized last time, I think it was $137,000
That
of our
much?
money. Yes.
And it's not on this
Right.
agenda. Well, did you get 3 bids? Because,
Well, first off, it was an emergency thing, but secondly, no, and that project is still not gone anywhere yet. It will probably go out for bids. I think that we probably did not allocate enough money for it.
because a penny saved is a penny earned. And I
Right.
hope you guys know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're looking at other invoices, it ain't your fault, but all these are unforeseen. And I don't know how you guys gonna pay this.
Well, first off, that sewer project comes out of the water usage money. That's not the general.
Okay, but look at this other one, $80,000 to Monarch. I thought it was only $5,000. Is this something extra? The Ninth Street Park.
No, that's CDBG funds. That's
Okay, so
something,
it's their money.
Yeah.
oh, it's been earmarked for CDBG, and this is just, it's already been approved, we're just going through the process again.
And that project did go out for bid.
Okay, then you got, what, 5 truck for 13,000? Is that what that is?
No, that's one of our big
Other
trucks.
trucks. Yeah.
And you still got the fire truck. Did they take care of the fire
Yeah,
truck?
the fire truck's been taken care
And
of.
that's paid?
That's paid.
So how you gonna pay this one?
All right, Jim?
Check.
You better check that one, it bounces. And then you have another one here, 127,000 general funds, pay all invoices. Can you just give me a nutshell, what invoices we talking about?
They're right in front of you. They're in the packet.
He should.
They're
over here,
Over there,
right?
he is.
Bill's
Again, over there.
Okay, well, I'm kind of limited today. But can you just give me a rundown? Because there's also people that watch the YouTube and they don't have access to the appendix.
It's online.
Yeah,
All of them got computers?
They're watching on YouTube, they should have something.
It's not really.
Plus it's on their phones.
They can watch video, but that doesn't mean they can, you know,
We
access.
post the agenda on the Facebook as well.
I don't got Facebook. But anyway, I'm just concerned if you guys are gonna end up making ends meet.
Well, in fact, the end of the last meeting, we talked about that. That it is going to be very tight towards the end of the year. There are things that can come good for the city, art money, grants, various things that can help us out, DCED, hand notes, and so forth. But at the burn rate that the city's been going through, it's going to be tough from about November on.
Well, the time though, they're gonna, if you do get it, it's not until
Well,
January.
you can get hand notes whenever, but
You
yes.
can?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. And, one last question. Did you hire somebody to do the bookkeeping for, that you need here?
We've got a person.
Did that person sign a union contract?
We're still working on that.
So the city didn't sign a union contract either then?
The contract has not been settled yet either.
When do you think that will be settled?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, you think it will be settled before the year's over?
I sure hope so.
Okay.
Ernie.
Hi. My name is Pina, and I'm here to tell you I'm not going to go away, okay? As long as that flag's flying, and I work under that flag, I don't want you ever to threaten me to throw me out of this meeting, because it won't happen. First of all, I apologize to the women and men if I cursed last month's meeting, but I can't help when a guy lies to you. I have no choice.
This is for
But I
agenda items
will
only.
let me finish, okay? You're the one that approached me there saying that you're gonna get the cop, the chief, to throw me out if I cursed. And I said, I'm glad you give me a heads up. I'm not going away. I'll be here for the next 4 years.
Good.
I'll be a pain in your butt,
That's
but
right.
you're still a liar. And you lied today, again. You signed the contract, and then you send out a letter saying that, hey, by the way, I'm gonna fight this. That's what you basically
Never
said.
read it.
That's what you basically said. So at the end of the day, you have done literally nothing for Monessen,
The one-
other than just, preach about yourself,
Okay.
about how good you're trying. But I'm telling you, man, I'm not going anywhere.
All right, that's fine, thank
I
you,
fought under the flag, and I will fight you, because you were great to me.
thank you. Again, this is for agenda items only. Is there anybody else with comments? Is there any correspondence? Solicitor, would you like to make your report?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Up first, the city is going to be required to obtain some easements for Phase 3 of the USDA sewage project. There are 9 of them up in the Alberts Drive corridor and a couple along Knox and 10th Street. Letters have been sent out to the property owners asking them to sign those easements. We'll move forward with that. Also, the application for the tax forgiveness program has been completed. There'll be an agreement to go along with it. Tonight on the agenda, the city will be appointing their officials to the joint committee. The plan right now is for that joint committee to have an initial meeting, take a look at everything, see if we have to tweak the application and/or the contract, and that program will be off and running. That's all I had for this evening.
Thank you.
Joey, about when do you think that'll be completed? Someone gave me a call today asking about that.
The application's actually at the very last.
So they can
attachment.
actually come and get one now?
The application hasn't been accepted,
Okay, so
but
after.
that's what we're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll just be that joint committee kicking off their initial meeting, appointing officers, and moving forward with that.
Okay.
Establishing future meetings. We don't have our city treasurer. Jerry, would you like to give your report?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and City Council and citizens of Monessen. It's the Treasurer's Report for the month ending August of 2022. Garbage fees and city real estate taxes collected for the month. Garbage fees revenues, current, $2,810. Year-to-date, $321,346.51. Budgeted amount is $370,000. Delinquent garbage. This month, $1,348.72. We received $11,323.91 from Portnoy. Year-to-date, delinquent $72,108.51. We received from Portnoy $21,274.77. Budget amount $120,000. The interest and penalties we received from Portnoy was $1,195.36. Garbage Housing Authority quarterly, nothing this quarter. August, year-to-date, $15,258.75. For a total budget amount for the year of $490,000. Garbage fees collected for 2023. August, $365. Year-to-date, $1,185. Budget amount, $147,834. City real estate tax revenue. City real estate tax current, August, $17,660.55. Year-to-date, $1,976,274.82. Budget amount for 2022, out of the general fund will receive $1,452,449. The service fund will receive $394,229. Parks will receive $199,052. The library fund will receive $42,135 for a total of $2,087,865. Delinquent city taxes. Prior years collected by the city, nothing this month. Year-to-date, $5,502.96. Budget amount, $9,000. Nothing collected from Portnoy this year so far. City taxes collected by Westmoreland County, nothing this month. Year-to-date, $117,277.56. Budget amount, $210,000. Total year-to-date taxes collected, $2,099,005.34. Distribution is as follows. As of May 31st, 2022, general fund will receive $1,311,975.76. Debt service fund received $356,101.47. Parks received $179,800.61. Library fund received $38,059.98 for a total of $1,885,937.82. Real estate transfer taxes. August, we received $10,006.95. Year-to-date, $74,212.80. Budget amount, $70,000. We're over the budget by $4,200. Earned income tax, August, $69,521.83. Year-to-date, $420,809.12. Budget amount, $600,000. Mercantile tax, $2,770.59. Year-to-date, $19,073.69. Budget amount, $29,000. Local service tax, August, $16,590.99. Year-to-date, $50,705.95. Budget amount is $75,000. Tax certifications, August, $800. Year-to-date, $17,630. Budget amount, $23,000. Municipal lien letters, August, $750. Year-to-date, $11,475. Budgeted amount, $16,000. Line usage account, August, we received nothing. Year-to-date, $12,780 line usage fees. August, $64,098.71. Year-to-date, $552,122.72. Total for the year-to-date, $564,902.72. Mayor, that concludes my report for the month.
Mayor, motion to accept the treasury report for garbage fees and city real estate taxes collected in the month of August 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? I've got one question. On the front page, you have Garbage Housing Authority, and there is a payment that you received of $15,258.75.
Yes.
We need to find out where that came from, because they do not pay the city. They have their own agreement with the.
That might be a typical error.
Or it might be from last year, but they paid in January, February, or March.
And that's fine.
Because they still were in the agreement then.
Correct.
So that's probably where that payment
For
comes.
last year, they were, but January 1st, they were not.
Well, that's why it says under their budgeted zero.
Right.
But that's probably the payment for,
Must be for last year.
yeah. I can find out for sure. Real quick.
Thank you. Any other questions? Call the roll.
Councilman McGregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. Our city controller is still absent. At this time, I would like to invite our city engineer to give us an update on all that we have going on with our sewer projects. Quite pleased that he's here today to explain it to us.
Hi, guys. Where do you want to start? Phase 3?
Yeah. Work our way
All right,
around.
Ned sends this report around, so for these ones, I'll just regurgitate exactly what this says. For 3rd Street, 6th Street, 9th Street, 12th Street, Grand Boulevard, Parade Boulevard. The pre-final contract documents and construction plans for Phase 3 A, B, C were submitted to USDA for review and approval on August the 3rd. USDA advised that they'd have it on August 11th, that they hope to start their review around the beginning of September. We anticipate advertising this portion of the project in the fall and awarding it in January. Then he gets into the various permits and whatnot. Phase 4 is the one you guys see the pipe all over town for. They have crossed Moffett Street, 200 more feet to go up toward Highland Manor, and they have completed down the hill to Grande. This week, they're grouting manholes, the 3 manholes that they have installed. It's been a slow-going process, and I'm optimistic that the pace picks up. That summarizes the source, those sewer projects. I don't know if you guys want to go off on a tangent or not, but I'm here to answer any and all questions. Yes, sir.
With all these projects that you're working on, what's the total budget?
For what?
Well,
The
you said-
construction?
Yeah.
You're like,
Phase 4 is what, $2.2 million?
yeah, pretty up to
Wow.
23 million.
You
So,
said 9 Street, 6 Street, 8 Street, what about those?
well, that's in phase 3. That's the one that we're waiting on the USDA to come
We
in.
didn't get no money yet.
We got the money. We're just waiting on them to approve the plans and the permits are in place. We're dealing with layers of bureaucracy.
I know that.
They're bogged down. And bless you.
But it's getting scary with all these projects happening.
Yeah.
The money ain't liquid.
Well, let me just ask a couple questions here. First off, Phase 4 is the Pendest project.
Correct.
That project encompasses the line that's coming down onto Parente from the
Well, from
Shawnee,
Monessen.
yeah, from Shawnee area.
Delaware, from the island.
That's gonna cross into the median of the highway there, the 906.
Yeah, then it goes perpendicular to the
And
side of the tree.
when do you think that'll happen? That'll happen next?
He told us that he, weather permitting, no more broken manholes or anything like that, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we will have that completed.
Well, he's got 200 more feet of 48-inch pipe, and he's got some 24-inch pipe to put in. And that digging's a little suspect up there, as you guys know, it's an old landfill. There's a lot of glass, that you softball people should know about those. So he's got to top dress it and seed it, and mobilize down to Delaware.
Okay.
The pipes, from what I'm told, he made a deal with Ms. Heppel, and she's using her lot to store some pipe down there. And then he'll do 9th Street last. And I started to tell you before, the reason he's doing Delaware next is because he has an HOP permit that times out. So he's got to get that crossing done.
Okay. Once you get that done, the next one will be going to 9th Street.
Yeah.
And that will probably get started before it gets too cold out?
I would hope October.
October.
I
Okay.
hope.
How long do you, that project like to last?
He's thinking to the end of the year.
That's one that will interrupt traffic on 9th Street.
Briefly, yes, the uphill, that's the one that's going to require the EMT and the EMS and everybody's going to have to be notified when that happens, because what did we time that out at 3-mile detour? Coming up 3rd and Alberts to get up to that part of the hill. So I think what his intention is to dig during the day and then backfill and plate and
Keep
open it up
traffic
at
working as much as
night.
possible.
Yeah, as much as possible. But he's going to be into 906 down there. As you see, those are 48-inch pipe. I mean, you have to be on the money with these things when you make the connections. So,
And just to clarify for Ernie, the Phase 3 project is a USDA project. That is a it's a $15 million project. If we're successful with the Phase 3 project, there is a grant that kicks in at the end of that for another $4.5 million, taking us right up to $20 million.
Is that tied in with phase 4?
That's Phase 3.
Okay.
Now, bear in mind, we're doing Phase 4 before we're doing Phase 3. Turns out that Phase 4 is required before you can do Phase 3, because you fix all the Phase 3 and have no place to get down to the plate. Phase 4 is to build the pipelines to handle all the work we do on Phase 3.
You got money for phase 4?
Phase 3 has been fully funded by the USDA. We have a interim loan to cover that. That's in full, as he points out, he'll be going out for bid here sometime in the fall.
optimistic, I
And that's really predicated on USDA approving the engineering plans and everything. They strongly monitor and control all that takes place in that project. They're probably more stringent than Penn does.
guess. The specifications are equivalent to 2 North Sea films. You can do whatever you
We're
want.
already going to dig that hillside of Grande. You can't dig that hillside of no more across
They're
the
done.
road. That
Yeah.
hillside going up.
Well, the pipe's outside the ground, so we couldn't dig in there.
How high is that? It's gotta be pretty high.
The original voltage still there is 40 feet deep.
Across from that big lot, in that flashing lot,
Yeah,
that
it's
one
buried.
hillside.
That pipe across Shawnee Park was 40 foot deep.
Where that machine's sitting now, they gotta go up there and do more.
They're done, from what I heard. I've been playing with a bunch of other toys
It's
today.
gonna look like he's done.
That vault up there, it's just gonna stay there, they're not gonna back, I mean,
Oh, yeah, he's backfilling it. They're grouting it. They're grouting it. They gotta grout all the pipe around those walls. So that's what they've been doing. That's why I've been taking it over. And they gotta form the inverts inside. Those things just come flat, and then you gotta pour the invert, we call them.
He's done it. Can I ask a question? Why is that pipe on the outside? Ain't it
That's-
supposed to be on the inside?
It's what the DEP wanted. Trust me, this has been scrutinized and re-scrutinized.
Did they get a plumber to inspect that?
Plumber. Yeah,
Plumber's
there's-
supposed to be burned.
There's civil engineers inspecting it. What else do we want to talk about? You want to talk about 8th Street?
We do have some, let's talk about the 8th Street real quick, just so everybody understands what challenges we have there.
Okay. Originally, when we started this, there was an open channel behind the steps. period of time, that pipe's been running with there's no cover on it. So a pipe ended, and then it took up, did something else when it hit the steps sometimes, and when it rained, it spilled over and flooded out. So our original contractor went and he was forced to undersize the pipe at the end. He had to take a 15-inch pipe and shove it into an 18-inch pipe, and then he flooded the joint with concrete, which sounds fantastic until you get a lot of rain and a lot of pressure on a cracked terracotta pipe. It now makes a waterfall as low as Rodney pointed out. So my biggest concern there is the steps, and messing with the steps, and are they connected to the foundation of the gravity wall? So I looked at going to 6th Street, and from manhole on 6th Street. It's a longer run, I knew that. It would be much shallower, I knew that. But we're going to be pulling out a concrete lane and replacing it in some form or fashion. So, long story short, everything was fine. It looked like that was the way to go. It was the safest way. We don't have to hang excavators off a cliff. The problem is the manhole is 5 feet deep with two 12-inch storm drains coming into it, and we're going to add an 18-inch combination line. So we went back and looked at the bank. The bank's 14 feet deep. Everything's good. The problem with it is you'd have to bench that entire trench the whole way down, so it would triple the excavation cost. So now we came back to this same location. We've got to remove the steps. We've got to move a telephone pole. We've got to get an HOP permit, and we've got to do erosion and sedimentation control. And we're going to pull it out of the existing manhole by the benches, set a new manhole, and hit a straight shot down with new 18-inch PVC. Now, it's expensive, but I've stood here 24 times telling everybody, you don't want to dig these if you don't have to dig them. We had it teed up to be lined. It would have been lined, designed, everything for less than $20,000. Now you're staring at a lot more than that.
Well, why wasn't it done?
We're waiting on phase 3. It's in phase 3. Little project there. We're thinking they're probably going to have to chain an excavator off and hang it off the hill.
How
Because
long
we
is
don't
this
want
gonna take?
that little piece there.
Yeah.
I'm figuring 2 weeks of construction time.
No?
Well, it's all based off the, a lot of assumptions made. The cost of demoing in steps, what we're going to find underneath those steps. The HOP permit, sounds like it could be a little more involved. I'm just trying.
Could you explain what the HOP permit is?
It's a highway occupancy permit you got to apply for from PennDOT. So it's actually highway occupancy permit. So I'm saying permit twice. But anyway, you need to apply for these permits in order to get access to do any kind of excavation on a street when you're a municipality. I took the approach, I was encouraged to approach them to let us treat this like it was a utility concern, whereby gas comes into town and they do what they want and pay a few shekels and do the proper, like they did with the gas valve here at 500 Garner. It was a mess, and then they come back and cut it out and they fix it, and everything's copacetic through a PennDOT inspector. Problem is, that work's done under the emergency auspice, and although it's truly an emergency, and we all believe it to be so, the problem is you have to go through design, because this isn't a connection from manhole to manhole in someone's front yard. This is pretty serious stuff. You've got to go through design. You've got to have a specification in place to protect the city. In other words, it takes time to get to where we're going, and then because of the cost, we've got to put it out to bid. We can't just go say, hey, give us 3. I guess if you declare an emergency, you can do that. I'll be hard pressed to find 3. So it just, we kind of lose the integrity there of the word emergency, and it's a real hard sell. So it's not cheap, and you're at their mercy. And erosion and sedimentation, we were able to get the conservation district to let us incorporate that into the design drawings, which is a big savings, because otherwise you'd need a separate plan for that.
Just something that I'd like for council to think about. Just the rough numbers that he and I have been working with. It looks like we underestimated the project the last time that we had our meeting. We authorized $137,000. to do this. Because of the permitting requirements and so forth, that is probably underestimated by about $44,000. It's not on the agenda today, but the next meeting we have, we probably need to,
About 20, figure 10 apiece for those plus the design, because that was the 137 number included construction.
okay. Well,
Construction,
great.
design, and inspection.
Great, so half that, 20,000, we're gonna have to up it by about 20,000. So that comes out of the line use, and just so everybody understands too, the message I got from Todd Colley today was that these emergency projects that come up along the way, he's only willing to include those up to about $5,000, which means this is gonna come out of our line usage money that we have, and probably will not be reimbursed. So we're gonna have to make sure that we budget it properly and all is looking well before we jump off that cliff. If we sit back, so on the 8th of last month, I talked to Todd Colley, he checked with things, and he said he will have the things going in 2 to 3 weeks. That was a month ago. And we still haven't got it going. Today, he said that he would let me know an update of what the timing was, but we still don't have it. The point being is, until he gives us the green light, Tony can't go out for bid. And that takes time too. Once we go out for bid, we find a contractor, then we could do it under the USDA project. Are we willing to allow sewage to come out on the street for this period of time, when we have line usage money that's designed for that particular purpose?
But don't forget that you won't lose the $20 million. You could probably, I'm sure we'll have something else come up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I don't think the 20 million was ever said to fix every problem we got.
No, not by a long shot. But I will say this, the problem should get, they will get a lot smaller. There are a couple more target areas that I'd like to hit. There might be room to do it.
And they did indicate today that they would allow us, at least the way I interpret the response, was they would allow us to direct where they started the project. In other words, we could go to our hot spots and fix them first before we get to the ones that weren't quite so seriously a problem.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, we have a pile of money in there to line the pipe from Ontario in front of Frank's garage. I don't know exactly how much is allocated to that, but we can take that money and redirect that pipe back to the alley to get that sewage out of his way. It should be, I don't want to say a wash, but it should be in range. The reason I don't want to say a wash is because that's pretty deep. We got to get underneath the forest main and set another manhole and regulate minimum to get back into that alley.
Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Anything else?
Tony,
Yes, ma'am.
which project or which number would affect the area on Marion and Arlington? Anything?
Not in this phase, no.
Nothing?
No. That's
I was hoping to
it's a
get
very,
rid of
very
the
long
stench,
story.
but I guess I'm stuck with that forever.
Yeah, I'm well aware of, let's put it this way, the 2007 Mr. Rehab report revealed a very bad issue up in the Leeds corridor, both sides of the hill. A lot of that stuff you're not seeing because some of the streets are steep when it gets down to Leeds and because the streets are concrete. But it was in bad shape in 2007.
I remember being told that.
Yeah, so Leeds would be an area I'd like to approach, and then there's another pipe that comes from the back of Montraver that goes behind Joseph's nursery. That's always been waiting for a phone call on that for quite some time. But I mean, we had limited resources, and Todd's previous boss, Judy Totino, her and I worked this out, and we decided to do pipes that were bringing everything down rather than the pipes that come across and feed in. There are 2 or 3 reasons for that I don't want to get into, but that in the long run, that eliminates the $200,000 repairs. And we've seen 2 or 3 of those variations.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cemetery Road out there where Woody is, going to Woody's house. You going to Woody's house, are you ever gonna block off that road? We're gonna have holes in that road for the rest of the life.
That has nothing to do with the sewer.
I'm here, I'm at your service. Do whatever you want.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Park. The park area.
I'm gonna do that one.
Okay.
Boat launch? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tony.
My pleasure.
I don't know what. So, the last council meeting, I guess we talked about the boat launch and some of the problems that we were having there. And we went through and did a couple things. First off, we did an inspection. Turns out that there's a total of 7 barges, I think that is. They're stacked on one on top of the other. Some of them are submerged, some of them are not. This is the way that they're stacked. There's 3 high on some areas, 2 high on other areas. There's some that are turned one way, some turned another way. But there's a whole series of barges there. And this is another view where you can see it. If you look at this from the down where the fishing dock is, you can see these barges pretty clearly. So the problem is, you look out on the raw water and you look at what the water has done to the barges, you can see that rust has eaten these barges up, and actually there's major faults in the barges. What they were filled with and so forth is probably no longer there. What you see is mostly sediment from the river, from the flooding that they've had over the years and so forth. And there's some more pictures here of just how bad those barges really are. And this is one that you can see. There's a barge underwater and a barge on top, and it's just full of sediment. There's no, whatever they filled that barge with is no longer there. And there's just more pictures and more pictures of this. At the end of the trail where the kids used to go down and fish, you have this. That's the trail at the top of the screen. You walk onto this, you're walking onto a barge with holes in it, major holes. And something that as a kid I would have loved to death, a trap door with the stairs that goes down into the barge. Totally crazy. I can't believe that was there and nobody got hurt over the years. So what they've really done is they came up with some recommendations, and one of which is they want to put something to keep people away from that area over the barges. We don't know if those barges are going to fail today, tomorrow, next week, 10 years from now. We don't know, and nobody does know. But we do know that the barges are a big problem. So we want to keep people away from that area. And this is what they've done. It's hard to see. I should turn the lights off. But there is a fence that was installed. It's one of these orange plastic fences along there with no trespassing signs. And you can see they've closed off where you can't even get to the park benches that are on the other side up along the river right now. It is just deemed not safe. And that is the reason why we had to do that. The engineer's recommendation and for our personal liability that we have exposed here. There's another picture of the no trespassing sign and what the fence is. I'm not saying that if you want to get through it, you couldn't get through it, but I'm saying that it's marked, it's clearly identified. There's no trespassing, many signs along the way. So what do we got to do? At some point, we need to start welding some plates on top of barge 7, cover up those holes where the trap door is and so forth. We've already reached out to the Coast Guard and the Army Corps of Engineers to see what we can learn from them, whether they have records of what happened in the past or what they can do to help us with what we've got going on now. We don't have any response from them yet. We need to develop a long-term plan. And that's going to require some engineering of what we want to do with that park and how we're going to fix it. And most of all, we've got to find some way to fund this whole thing. Right now, the city doesn't have any money to invest, the kind of money that we'd be talking about here. And it's not going to be insignificant funds. The other thing I want to talk about was some of the things that I've been mentioning along the way is the county ARPA funds. This is the ARPA funds that the county has. This is money that the commissioners got together and said, we are going to do something for the county. And to that end, they pushed it off to a whole series of organizations, the Westmoreland County Department of Planning and Development, the Westmoreland County Redevelopment Authority and Land Bank, the Economic Growth connection of Westmoreland, there is a lot of people involved in this project at the county level, long before we see anything at this level here. So what did they identify? They said, let me see if I can give it some light so you guys can see this a little bit better. That help?
You had the light.
We have a mark.
Yeah, you had it.
That one?
One more. That's
There you
it.
go.
So the county identified some 540 different properties that were blighted in the county. Turns out that Monessen's 284 of those properties, well over half of the properties that are blighted in this county that were identified as potential candidates for their use of this ARPA money are in Monessen itself. Just for people's information, Greensburg got about 32 blighted places, Arnold's got about 79, Jeanette 42, Pembroke 10, New Kensington 63, Vandergrift 22, and Monessen, king of all, 284. So just to keep it all in perspective, the problem with blight in Westmoreland County, they recognized and they're going to do something to help us here. It
That
really
is
is
plain
for
to say.
Monessen. So one of the icons, besides the 500 Donner Building, is the Fifth Street Hotel. I have it from Brian Lawrence in an email that he said that the bid date for this project will go out on September the 21st. That's real soon, very soon. He has promised that the demolition will start within the first week of October. Now, I'm going to hold his feet to the fire. That's got to happen. If he starts slipping, it just tells us what we're up against. What I really did is I said, okay, if Monessen is the first highest priority, let's identify an area that we can start in. And what I basically said is Donner to the north, Alberts to the south, bounded by 3rd and 6th Street on the east and west. So that forms just this block here that you can see there. In that property, there's about 170 blighted properties. A lot of them are right down here in downtown. Some of them are residences. It's a combination of both. Of those 170 properties, about 40 of them belong to either the city, the land bank, or the redevelopment authority. In other words, property that you can get a hold of real quick and do something with. That means there's about 150 of these properties that are not that way. These are properties that belong to somebody. They may belong to somebody that's long since deceased. It may be moved out of the country, impossible to find, but they, according to the records, they belong to somebody. It is up to the city, if the city wants these blighted, to clear these properties. We have to clear those properties just like we would with Cdbg. We have to they will do the title search. For whatever reason we don't understand, the county has determined that they want to do the title search. That's fine. That's tedious work, they can do that. But as far as doing what our solicitor knows how to do with the Cdbg funds, he notifies the people, he holds public hearings, he clears the property, and he can get demolition orders through that process. And that's, what, City Act 90 or something, I don't know.
That's just under the local agency law. You have the ability, the city has the ability to summarily abate these properties. You just have to provide due process.
So anyway, that is where the first thing is. That is, he has agreed that countywide, they will take this as the first phase of their demolition project. That's a huge opportunity for us, but we've got to get through this in so much as how do we get them all cleared? How do we get them all going through the process? And that will take some time. So there's some immediate problems that everybody's aware of right now. This 123, 129 6th Street, just across the road right over here. The old newspaper office, it started collapsing into the alley. And right now, the one leg is shaped like a U. One leg is, the roof is completely gone. It's in the basement. It's just a serious problem. That building's owned by Guy Simpson. He indicates that he will demolish the structure and build a new. And we're going to encourage him to do that in every way that we can. By the same token, the city's going to take strong enforcement action to keep him on track. You just got to keep him moving. The other issue that's really come up that has hit me, and this is something unrelated to anything that I know how to handle right now, but it's something maybe we can manage. We have a whole series of concrete roads in this town. When this concrete gets old and starts getting cracks, water gets underneath it. When water gets underneath it, it starts eroding whatever this concrete is sitting on. There are some houses in this town that have on their driveway a void underneath the concrete of at least 2 or 3 feet. And what's holding this concrete up is probably the rebar that goes to the curb. It's just a problem. The most obvious solution is actually pretty simple. We cut a hole in the concrete, we fill it with concrete, we build it all up, and we replace that's missing. The only concern that I have is when you do that, you've made it very difficult to work on the road from that point forward. If there's a problem with the water that's underneath that concrete, you're going to be out there with jackhammers. If there's something, so we got to make sure that we do this right. We do all the proper one calls and make sure that we're not building a problem. The other thing that really bothers me, on the one that I'm thinking of right offhand, I went there today. It's right across her driveway, and there's double-cart driveway, one on each side. You can see the holes. There's a crack in the concrete about 4 or 6 inches wide. You can catch a foot in there real easy. She's got kids, and she's really deathly afraid that the kids are going to fall in it. It goes down a good 3 feet. And you look in there, and you see nothing underneath this concrete road as far as you can see underneath it. The point with this is, where did it go? Where did all this debris go? And I really don't know the answer to this question. It just really scares me that you'd have this void underneath there and all the material is gone. Now, the engineer has indicated that in the past, the storm drains that were in the area got full of debris. So maybe this is just something that occurred years ago and we didn't understand what it was and didn't pay any attention. The fact that you kept digging your storm drains out with debris, nobody seemed to ask where that debris came from. Well, maybe this is what it was. So I'm hopeful that that's what the answer to that question is. The 6th to 8th, we've already talked about this. That's the one we approved $137,000. I'm apparently wrong with this. It's really $20,000 more we need, not $44,000. So that's something that we'll probably put on the agenda next time to get that problem solved. The problem is what does the county redevelopment authority, i.e. Brian Lawrence, say the time frame is for this project? And about the only thing he really is advertising is they will obligate all their funds by 2028. They have to be fully spent by 2028. I'm sorry, that's 5 years from now, 5+ years from now. That's the reason why I went to him and pushed so hard. Start phase 1 in Monessen. Show us that you really got some money. Show us you're really going to do something. Let's get it done fast. We'll do everything we can to clear that property and move forward with it. That's really all that I really wanted to say about that. If anybody's got any questions about that, I'll be happy to address them too.
Yeah, well, these are actually questions I'd like to ask Tony since he's sitting here, but going back to both of them situation.
Thank you.
To rebuild that the way it is, what would be your just off the wall estimate?
The barges?
Yeah, to make it, the barges and stuff, fill with concrete stuff.
You're talking about getting rid of the ones that are there and bringing them in?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm just real curious to see what the demolition is going to be.
Okay. So basically, that is really off the table.
How would I do that? I mean, I'd like to see what happens to that, the embankment behind it, because like, as you know, I mean, that river level goes up and it goes down. The day we did it, it was down. When it's up for a reason. There's a lot of water in it. It's moving real fast. With those holes in that barge, I don't know what was happening with that, what erosion took place against that hillside. But once you demolish them, it would be up to you guys to determine if you wanted to put in some type of a retaining wall or just live with the slope, the natural slope that was left.
What would you estimate to remove the barges?
I asked our latest and greatest demolition guy I sent him over to structural report, and we discussed it for a few minutes. He and I agreed probably the first course of action is to reach out to the Corps of Engineers to see what they'll let us do. DEP would probably be involved. DEP, same guy I dealt with over here, he's worried about river water, so he'd be involved with the guys from DEP, he'd be involved with the Corps of Engineers. But I envision ultimately digging a trench behind the barge in the exact, like probably in the same location where that fence is. You'd probably have to dig a trench big enough to get an excavator in and then blow torch them apart or tear them apart as best you can from the land side. And hopefully get something out of the metal value offset.
Are those barges scuttled because of lack of use, or what are they doing there in the first place?
Urban legend says you put them there to make an offloading place to bring garbage.
It was a loading dock.
They were put there deliberately.
Yeah, they were stacked up by a certain individual. I'm not sure if the facts are true or not, but he put it back in 1950 approximately. He built that as a place to unload and load his trucks and his barges that came in.
Huh.
It was a,
No wonder they're falling apart.
oh yeah.
70 years.
They're metal rust. And then once the water got in there, it started tearing them apart.
Yeah.
If I had a hazard guess, I don't know what the permits are gonna take, I don't know what they're gonna want, that's separate, but I'd say you're probably looking at least $250-ish, somewhere in there.
$250,000.
At least.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 7 barges, I don't know what degree, if they're in bad shape and you can pick them apart with a cloth.
Well, some of it will come apart.
Okay.
When I was down on the river there, you can see.
They're probably gonna want some type of an erosion control feature installed in the river to maintain that anything that he cuts stays within a certain area, so.
But even if they took them out, they just tapered it back up.
I'd like to see what's there first, because you start putting in a gravity, you're not gonna do a gravity wall, you'd have to do a tieback or a retaining wall of some sort. And that's for someone above my pay grade to tell me if you wanna do that or not, because you gotta do drilling. You gotta see if it's even feasible to do that.
Well, the bottom line I'm getting at here is that's going to be extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And there's no getting around that. I saw on your solutions here about welding the place. Do we have any idea when we're going to get that taken care of?
Yeah. Right now, we haven't unlocked pieces, no press mechanism.
Well, that's fine and dandy. However, you're looking at a 4-foot fence and
Well,
you go right over it. It's a
more or less
temporary fence.
It's a public safety issue, assuming you're gonna have some fence jumpers. So,
Is there any way possible to just get those benches out of there as well? Just
I'll be honest with you, if you go down there and you look at the situation,
Yeah.
you can see around the trees where it's settling in.
Yeah.
And if you look at one of the benches, it's already going in towards a tree like this. They can go in there and take it out.
They
Might give while they're doing it. And it may not. Like the mayor said, it could be 5 minutes from now or 5 years from now. It's going to go down. There's no question of that.
from what Bill told me, he's expecting it to fall like this.
Which is what apparently happened.
Yeah, it's gonna continue to fall like that. So, I mean, you see the condition of the barges that get water for maybe a couple of weeks a year, they're in bad shape. Imagine the one that's never left the water. And I mean, I don't know what the Corps would make us do. Maybe they'd let us leave those lower barges in and just take them down to the top of that. So we can fence that off somewhere. But normally they're responsive, so.
Very good.
Well, that was my question there.
You got something?
They put them there, they should be responsible for,
They didn't put them there. No, they didn't.
but they're responsible for the river.
I would
Whatever it
assume
is.
there was a permit, and that's what, I think Mike reached out to the Corps. I would like to know what they know about. Are they tied together in some fashion? What are they backfilled with? When were they placed? And how do we get rid of them? And that's something that I would appeal to them and apply it, because you're not gonna be able to fight, City Hall. Yes, sir.
It's very hard to estimate what the cost would be, but the only way to estimate is basically you have, I don't know whether you guys are equipped to be able to work on a river or not. You have an engineering company actually look at the job and estimate what it takes to get the things out of there first. And then what would need to get a repair, not repair, but replace, to make it solid and sound, or sound and solid. So you could go anywhere. My experience has been on that, that we did build some walls in the water. It could go for engineering itself, it could go into hundreds of thousands of dollars before you even touch it. So that job there, as of today, it could go as high as $5 million without any problem.
I'd have built it according to it. And I don't know what,
Well,
I don't know,
That would be my,
that would be my way to do it. I mean, it's in the waterway. They had the permit, and now what?
but I would
I don't
approach that.
know, I don't want to name names, but I assume when they did all the Herman-Mehelic upgrades to it, that they assumed liability, assumed the ownership of it. I assumed it, I didn't even look at that.
No maps really show that being on property.
Well, it's not that the maps don't show it being our property, the maps show it being in Ross River, but it's still our property.
The barges are in Australia.
Yes.
The whole park is.
The whole park is.
Well, the pump stations in Australia, I'm not sure about the board.
So the property line runs right through the pavilion that's there.
Let's just assume they're in the waterway and it's someone else's problem for now.
You would have to still hire an engineering company to go in and do the study on it, to
Absolutely.
see who owns it, where it's at, and how to estimate it, and then be able to get people who are comfortable to do that type of job. It may not be, it may be, I don't know. You know,
It's,
you guys work-
Right now, until we get something back from the Corps of Engineers and the Coast Guard and so forth, I think that we don't do anything until we, other than just keep people out of that area.
And then pop up.
I'd like to indulge somebody to, ask somebody to read some of these motions here.
I'd like to make a motion to provide a notice to proceed to Morna Excavation Services for completion of the completion of the 2022 Cdbg 9th Street Park Improvement Project, MON 2022-06, in the amount of $80,496.50.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Monessen, number 10 of 2022, to authorize the submission of an application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development for funding through the Community Development Block Grants, as authorized under the Housing and Community Development Act, 42 U.S.C. 5301 and 24 CFR Part 570, and further certifying compliance with the requirements of the program.
Do I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve payment to Grande Industries for work completed on the 2022 Cdbg Roadway Rehabilitation Project Phase 1, MON 2022-02, Mckee Avenue and 4th Street, as recommended by WEC Inc., consulting engineers, in the amount of $128,160.
Do I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a handicap parking space for Christopher M. Palmer at 29 Washington Drive, Monessen, PA 15062.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
I'd like a motion to approve the celebration of Halloween and trick-or-treat activities in the city of Monessen from 6 to 8 p.m. on Saturday, October 29th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah, just a comment, I still don't think that's a good time. Gets dark,
I
get
agree.
out the street when it's dark, bad idea.
I agree.
Sooner or later, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Okay. Just a comment on that. I don't disagree with that, but one of the things that was, people approached me about very early on this year was that there's several different holidays that the city has that they celebrate. And to that end, they suggested that somebody that has a real love for a particular holiday ought to be put in charge of that holiday and direct all activity to that person. He would be the one that controls it and does it and whatnot. The Lisa Lyons at his place took on Christmas, and I would like to commend her because she has done an absolutely fantastic job. She's worked with the library and all the different churches and all the different people that are involved with it to put together a complete schedule for Christmas, and here it is in September. This has been done for some period of time already. That's the kind of thing that I think really ought to take place for trick or treat and any other holidays we support. The Midsummer 4th of July, I think, has been historically a mayor's thing, and that's the one that I want. That's what I will do. Want to say anything else?
Well, no, you need to finish this one
Okay.
first before I say something.
Is there, we got a second on that?
Yes. Yeah, wait a second.
Okay, any other questions? We call the roll.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Gregor,
No.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
I'd like a motion to form and appoint 3 members to the Tax Exoneration Board under the terms of the recently enacted ordinance number 1260, with 3 persons in the current administration employed by the city of Monessen or elected officials as outlined in the ordinance. Mayor Maura Moser for an initial 1-year term to the board. City Administrator Michael Korpach to initial term of 2 years to the board. And Code Officer Marvin Davis to initial 3-year term to the board.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Now I have questions.
Okay?
We don't have any public opinion on this. I have a problem with that. I think one of those positions ought to be someone from the public.
The only concern that I have is we're talking about tax exoneration, and they would have no stake in the exoneration of that tax. They would benefit from the exoneration of the tax.
Neither do the 3 people that you're proposing to
But
put on
we
there.
were elected by the general public to respect that tax and to take care of it,
Well, there's only one of them, it would be you.
whether elected or appointed.
Marvin would neither fall into neither of those
Well,
categories.
He is part of the administration.
He's appointed as a code enforcement officer.
Yeah. I just think that,
And that was really required to get buy-in by the school.
but we're still not including a public in this. And I have a problem with that.
Okay.
I just don't think it's right. Plus,
When you need, why do you feel that we need to include public tax exoneration? You think that they may say no, or yea, or?
well, they'd have a stake, they might have a stake in it, like, depending on where some of this is at. If it's up in a more blighted area, someone may have a lot more of an opinion on something versus some of us that never even, unfortunately, go up there or even just know of it. There's no, I don't like the idea of government telling people really what to do without them having a say.
Well,
And I could be wrong on this.
I'm not gonna say whether you're right or wrong, but I would say that these individuals here are going to be more cognizant of what's going on with these blighted properties than some individual. I mean, you may get someone like Mark Delora, who's really into it, or I can think of some other people. that we really get into, but these people will be dealing with this stuff on a day-to-day basis.
By the way, Mark has been appointed by the school to be on this board.
And if I can,
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
That's a good thing.
if I can explain the rationale behind the joint committee. If everybody remembers the last iteration of this program, there were no checks and balances. The city didn't even reach out to the school district to see if they wanted to be a part of it. One of the mayor's primary tasks when he took office was to sit down with the school district to see if we could develop this good idea into a plan that can be administrated. They wanted to be involved in the initial decision from the application moving forward, and that's where the idea for the joint committee, to have stakeholders from the school district as well as the city sitting on one board to process these applications, making the recommendations for tax exoneration to council and to the school board. That way, both entities have skin in the game. It's not just the city sending a letter to the school district saying, hey, you know, they completed this application, they went through the process, please exonerate their taxes. They're going to have individuals from their body as well making that recommendation to the school district. It's just the way that this could be processed efficiently, and it would take some onus away from the city administrator for doing it on his own. And with the code enforcement official being on there, he's going to be the one inspecting these buildings. So he's going to know which properties are coming in from day one with the application. He's going to be well versed in these properties. It's going to make his job efficient as well, I believe.
And doesn't he have to make periodic checks to make sure they're proceeding along with the
Yep.
improvements and
Yep.
everything?
Yep.
The very, and not to get sidetracked, we still need to take a vote on this, but the very last attachment to your packet is a copy of the tax forgiveness application. The contract is yet to be done, but you can see that it's the application itself is many pages, 7 pages, something. It's more than the entire contract was last time. So it's going to be vastly different. There are many requirements before you can do this. Can we call the roll? Is there any more questions?
Do we have a second?
Yeah.
We've had a second.
Could this be possibly amended or changed to state just the positions and not people?
No, this is the purpose of this meeting, is to appoint people so we can get this underway.
You're worried that if one of these individuals would leave service for the city, they would still be on the tax exoneration route.
What I'm worried about, and I know I'm going to put my head in noose for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways, is, and it's no disrespect to anybody, Mike is still an interim city administrator. Mike is in the position as a contract. This is extending something out for 2 years that we don't know if was going to be there. That's where I'm having the problem.
Then you would replace him because
He would no longer be qualified, I would
he'd
think.
be over, he would
Yeah,
be part of it.
if that's the way it's going to go.
Well, if any of these people leave, and I don't want nothing to happen, but he walks out the door, gets run over by a Mack truck, we'll have to replace him.
Yeah, that's correct, because the ordinance specifically reads they have to be elected or appointed officials from the school district and from the city. So if Marvin, Mike, or Ron were to leave their position, they would no longer be qualified for that position, because they're no longer an appointed or elected official.
All right.
I am.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution to amend the city fee schedule for a simple subdivision fee for 1 to 3 lots in an amount of $250.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor motion.
We'll give the next three off.
We pretty much did,
Yeah, I pretty much did the next ones. I would like to point out that we did not do E, which was a payment for Hill International. That motion was tabled.
I J and K we already did, so that
Yeah,
Could be a respectful table.
if it's tabled, we need to make mention of it, with the formal motion.
Okay. Motion to approve payment to Hill International for a payment of, or repair and inspection of International Truck Number 6 in the total amount of $13,485.71. A down payment of $6,742.85 will be due upon approval of this evening to order parts and initiate repairs. The remaining balance will be paid upon satisfactory completion of the repairs and inspection process in the amount of $6,742.85.
So that's the motion to table E, correct?
That's the motion to table that motion, yes.
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Gregor.
Aye.
Mayor motion.
Yes. I, J, K, and L are pretty much, oh,
IJK,
Yeah.
discussed.
did you put a copy of that letter? Okay. It's been reiterated many times that I refuse to sign the intergovernmental agreement between Del Vernon and Monessen that had to do with the refuge authority. And to that end, I was primarily because I did not feel that they represented the city properly when they went out for contract, and nor were we properly notified of the terms of it when they did. The point being is, because we didn't know exactly how things were going, the solicitor and myself went out of our way to meet with Mike, and I can't even say his last name, Lynn Oskowski. Anyway, the two of the three owners of the county hauling / Noble Environmental owns county hauling. They are the three individuals that bought the dump. They're the three individuals that run county hauling. And we talked to them at great length and decided that, yeah, this is a good agreement between them and the authority. We will continue to pay those payments. We have no issue with that whatsoever. And in fact, we reassured them that if we decided to abolish the authority, we would be liable for all their assets and liabilities and contracts and whatever. So we would be stuck with the contract in any event, which we had no problem with either. Anyway, the point being is the reason why I didn't sign was not because of the garbage company we were dealing with or the contract that was reached. It was simply the authority I was having trouble with. So hence, I went ahead and signed the agreement, sent it to them with that explanation. And anybody wants to talk about that, can talk about it at the end of the meeting.
I have a question.
At the end of the meeting. Councilman Orchakowski.
Mayor, before we do that, there's something I would add on to number F. And that is, as the mayor mentioned about getting individuals to do specific holidays or events in the city, I'd like to tell everybody that I contacted somebody, I don't want to say who yet until we actually get 100% okay, but we plan on bringing back the Halloween parade. That didn't happen last year.
Ooh, that sounds good to me. You know, where we'll talk about.
Preliminarily, right now, it looks like it's going to be October 20th. There'll be more information, or at least I'll have more information at the next council meeting, once this individual gets back to me and agrees to take on the responsibility. But we're looking for that to happen again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now what I make a motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $127,129.86. All invoices are attached to the agenda as attachment A.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the recreational account in the amount of $111.68. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment B.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
All right.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the Parks Fund in the amount of $2,273.46. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment C.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the Grant Fund in the amount of $5,782.10. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment D.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Moser.
Yes.
Balances in the city accounts. Fire escrow, $18,410.99. Payroll, $6,042.91. Line usage, $619,977.71. Healthcare is $5,007.72. ARP American Rescue money is $39,217.81. Grant fund has $53,738.42. Debt service has $598,854.37. Parks fund has $79,609.39. Liquid fuels has $248.84. Recreation board has $3,561.55. And the general fund has a balance of $771,354.99. And that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Phyllis Thomas, would you like to give us your report?
Good evening, everyone. I will hold off to making that report for the streets and public improvement at our next meeting on the 22nd, along with the library report.
Thank you. Councilman John Nestor.
Thank you, Mayor. I will yield my report until the following meeting. I greatly appreciate it. Hope everyone has a wonderful night.
Thank you. Well, Councilman Gregor, would you like to give us your report?
At this time, no, I have no report.
Makes it easy. This time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment on any item you'd like.
When you say you signed the authority, you're talking about the garbage authority
I signed the intergovernmental agreement.
for the garbage authority, right?
Right?
Did you give them a copy of the letter that you sent to
I
the
did. I sent
secretary?
that to everybody in council. Yes, I did.
So what the letter says as far as the public goes? What are you trying to say to the public?
I wasn't trying, I was saying the authority has no meaning to me whatsoever.
So then, why would you call me on January the 11th, 2022, that you had such a big challenge to do in that authority?
And I was hopeful that we would have something to do with this.
So what happens is that you actually had no intentions
At
of
that
signing
time, that
it.
was not the way
And
it was.
after you sign it, you still have no intentions of being there.
We're still represented there by yourself, Ted Harhide, and I think we need to replace one person.
Yeah, I told you that about 5 months ago. You
I
haven't
understand.
done it yet.
No, we haven't, till last
But let
week.
me ask you, sir, what is that you plan on doing? Because if you plan to do away with the authority, say so.
I plan on, in 3 years from now, when this contract runs out, that we will evaluate whether we want to go out and do our own contract as part of or we want to participate with Bell Vernon.
So you
Has
basically
nothing to do with the
thinking,
authority.
okay, so you basically are thinking that the authority could be dissolved just by making a motion on the floor, right?
No.
There's a process that the city can follow.
There's a big legal process to be on site, and there's a cost to that process to do. I mean, attorneys are always telling you, that, don't worry, we got you covered. But there's attorneys on the other side, just as well, that say, come on.
To be
But I
honest,
mean, I don't get it.
to be honest, the city wouldn't necessarily have to dissolve the authority in 3 years. They just don't re-enter the agreement with the authority.
So what's that mean in English?
That means they would go out to bid for their own garbage contract.
So you would have an authority that has nothing to do with the city.
That's right.
That's
Basically it?
That,
So what would you appoint people in the authority? That's my question. And you say you're being transparent? I don't think you are.
that decision hasn't been made yet. I think
What?
the mayor just explained that.
But what?
That he's going to push to evaluate.
It took you guys 8 months to sign the agreement, and it took you 5 minutes after you signed it to destroy it because you sent the girl a letter basically saying, we're gonna be looking at this every here and there and see what we're gonna do with it. And then you guys telling me you're transparent? You're not being transparent.
I disagree.
Well, you can disagree
That's the
because you're an
definition.
attorney. I can disagree with you just as well.
That's the definition of transparent, is when you make these public.
Well, public, it took you 8 months to say what you're gonna say.
There-
And if you guys received that letter that he wrote, it's, Jesus Christ, 12 years old could have wrote that.
There were issues with the process.
Huh?
There were issues with the process of the contract at the beginning, legitimate issues.
Well, what's the issue? Of the people.
There were no terms of what the city was paying in that contract.
What are they?
Good question, because when it was sent to the city, it
So
said,
why would you sign it then?
because we got that resolved.
What was the problem? That's my question.
There was a problem initially.
What was the problem?
There were no terms of what the city was paying in the
So you
contract.
solved that.
Correct.
And then
What
we
is the
signed-
term now?
Then we signed the contract.
What the bid price was. It
What
wasn't
is the
included in
term
the
now?
contract. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it wasn't included in the contract. There was a question whether the contract initially was valid or binding, because there wasn't an important term in there. How much the city was paying the authority.
So how much the city does pay you?
We'd have to look at the contract.
Now
You guys know, I mean, you write
A
the
month.
checks.
A month.
How much?
It's approximately $47,000 a month.
$27,000 for how long?
Per month.
Per month.
Per month, the authority. Okay.
Pina, can I have the floor for a second? You said that there was nothing in there.
There was no terms of what the city was paying the revenue.
When I
authority.
received a copy of that, there were terms in there.
When did you receive the copy?
December.
The one that we saw in January did not have terms in it.
What's the discrepancy
I
here?
have no idea. The one I looked at, day one in January, didn't have the
I'm
price
hoping
terms.
that I saved that, because I've been pitching a lot.
Well, you know, one thing, they could have signed this contract long before I took office too, and it had never been an issue.
I mean, I'm not making it up. That was.
No, I'm not
it was
saying
a-
you are, Joe.
We had to get an addendum through their solicitor.
I'm just like, when I was quite taken aback when you said there was no terms, because the one that I read had terms.
There was a letter, I believe, with the price for each year, 22, 23, and 24, but it was not in the contract itself.
The contract, if you remember, and Lois, you remember in November and December when we were talking about it, it had nothing filled in, not a thing. It just had the signature of the mayor, and that was it. There was no term, there was no payment, there was nothing of that nature of knowing what we were paying. Because I know we complained about it. It was blank. That's why we were bitching about it.
I'd like to see if I can locate mine, because I'm telling you, I'm sitting here right here telling you, and there were terms in there. And I do remember also for the letter,
Was it the contract or just the letter?
it was both. And maybe there was just some screw up.
And I mean,
Why
it
did
was,
they sign the contract? Did they take me the wrong?
the authority sent,
You need to have people show up to have the meeting. I'm just saying.
So,
That November, December were not the finest example of some of our former.
so basically what you're saying is that now you know what it is, the difference, but you're still signing. And now what you're telling me, that $27,000 that you guys paying, when you say you guys cost Monessen $27,000?
47.
What is it?
47.
$47,000 every month, and it goes to the authority,
Right.
which the authority only has one pay employee,
Okay.
okay, and one hire attorney. That's it. So you're telling me that that's what they have? Have you approached them at all with that question? Because the last time I seen you come there, it was like sort of you didn't talk to any of the guys that belong to the Monessen side or to the Val Vernon side. You made some comments and walked out, and people laughed. So I'm saying to you, are you going to approach the board and tell them what you're telling us today?
Oh, I think
That's the only way to solve it.
I think they're going to be aware that this just went out over the video.
You know, I got a letter, I got an email
Put
this
a letter in,
morning.
the letter I copied everybody on.
I got an email this morning saying that they couldn't, one person, the secretary basically said that she got a letter from you and you got the thing signed, but they couldn't get why you wrote the letter.
We don't
The
have.
letter
a copy of
basically
that.
saying,
I sent a
I
copy.
know, but we don't have a copy here.
yeah, basically, the letter basically saying, hi, you guys, I'm on board now, I signed it, but I can be off the board anytime you want to. And the attorney is telling you, yeah, you could do that, and the other attorney telling us, no, they can't do that. So that
Now
means
that I've
it's
signed
gonna
the
cost
agreement,
you.
I'm into it for 3 years. That's all there is. The city's into it for 3 years. That is the term of the contract that the authority has with county hauling. So the city is fully committed to living through that 3-year period. What I'm saying is 3 years from now, we need to sit down and we need to discuss, what are the garbage requirements for the city? What do we need? Why did we not take into account the businesses in that last agreement? We need to take those into account. We need to make sure that we've accounted for all these different things. If they want to do that and they do it properly, I've got no problem with it. But if they don't, we will do it on our own.
You know, somehow I lose it, because, you know, I see the red, white, and blue flag behind you, and I don't see no Russian flag flying behind you that you can become a dictator.
I'm not a dictator.
Because you appoint people to do a job, and then you go behind their back and try to change or redo whatever you try to
I've
do.
given you 2.5 years of warning of what I'm going to do. There you be. How much more transparent do I need
So
to
if
be?
you did 2.5 years, what the hell you appointed me for? On January 1st, January
minutes is
11th,
up.
2022, you say,
You
hey,
made your
you
point.
know, I got a rule challenge for you.
You made your
That's
point.
because the Three Stooges told you what to say.
You made your point.
And you listen to the Three Stooges. And it's a shame, because I voted for you, I didn't vote for the Three Stooges.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Thank you.
They're not stooges, they're nice people.
You'd have to ask.
Nancy Horvath, 1417 Arlington. You're mentioning the garbage. The last time I put out my recycling and they didn't take it. Now, I wasn't here to do the next time. It's due tomorrow to be picked up. And it will be out there. Now, whether they pick it up, I don't know if they will. I don't understand why they didn't.
Nancy, do you have his phone number?
I did,
If they miss it, call them, they'll come get it.
I know.
Is it?
But I'll call
this
in the
week?
morning, Nancy.
You talking about this week, Nancy?
It's due tomorrow.
Right.
But don't forget, there was a holiday, so there's gonna be.
Oh, there'll be a
pushed
day
back.
late.
It's
Okay.
all pushed back. They didn't pick our garbage up today either.
Okay, well, they shouldn't have. We're a day late.
We're a
Yeah.
day late.
Yeah. Okay, this week, I should have said that. But I'm hoping they'll pick it up. But if they don't,
If they
I
don't,
will.
please call us, and we'll make sure they do.
Yeah, but I don't know why they wouldn't, that's all.
Nancy, you're interested in just, I'll call in the morning, like, as we did the last.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
What's your,
Pardon?
what's your address, Nancy?
1417 Arlington.
Okay. I'll do it in the morning.
It's overflowing now.
Okay.
Mayor, a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:02
I
PM.
have one call, and this is bugging me, because I just saw the chief of police came up and start walking over here, and this man was talking, and Pino was talking. Him and I don't always see eye to eye, but I do recall at multiple meetings where you, Mr. Moser, were up there longer than 3 minutes. You were up there 20 minutes, half an hour and stuff, and no one shut you down. So now that you're mayor, you're gonna shut him down.
Well, they're gonna shut me down.
I got, no. It bothered me when I saw him tell the chief of police, and the chief got up and started walking over. That's his boss, he has to listen.
I will allow anybody to talk as long as they're not repeating themselves over and over again, and that's what that was getting to be.
In your opinion,
In my opinion, it was being
And
repeated.
again, I remember you repeating things multiple
You
meetings.
should have shut me down.
I took 2 times I PTO
Now, you know,
of the.
this is what, he's absolutely correct. That's dictatorship. when you're gonna start shutting people down from talking.
Ain't gonna
And
happen.
it wasn't done to you.
I wasn't successful, I didn't shut them down.
You wish it happened. Listen.
That was just wrong, Ron.
That's
That's just wrong.
one more time, so you know exactly where I'm coming from. I'm Italian born. Not a second generation, I'm Italian born.
And I took citizenship, which I had to take. But before I became a citizen, I got drafted. I don't know if you did or not. You know, and you're gonna tell me, or you're gonna threaten me coming in here that you're gonna shut me off? I got news for you, man. I took bigger guys than you. To me, you are nothing more than trash.
Okay.
That's not called for.
Mayor, motion to adjourn this tonight meeting at 8:04 PM.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.